Could Arsenal be back in for Southampton star Romeo Lavia? Yes, people, welcome back to another Arsenal transfer news video. As always, if you absolutely love being kept up to date with daily Arsenal transfer news vids, this is the place to be. Make sure you subscribe down below on my road to 4,000 subscribers, and importantly, hit the bell notification button so you never miss a future video on this channel. It's a win-win for both of us. And let me know in the comment section your thoughts on Lavia's potential move to Arsenal. Let's not waste any more time and get straight into the tweet brought today by respected journalist Ben Jacobs, stating this: Arsenal could enter the race for Romeo Lavia if Thomasd Partey leaves. As previously reported, nothing in the Aurelien Tchouameni links. Lavia remains a real possibility for Liverpool as well and is admired by Chelsea. But suitors value Lavia at far less than £50 million, which apparently is what Southampton have labelled their star player as. And this is exactly what I want to hear in terms of Arsenal looking at defensive midfielders. Now, I made my point about Lavia before in previous videos that I wouldn't mind the signing. I definitely wouldn't mind it. But I do think it's a big risk given his age and the fact that he's only 18, 19 years age, being asked to do such a massive role in that defensive midfield position, being asked to anchor the defence and push forward the attack, that it would be a good signing, but it's one that comes with a lot of risk associated with it. I'd rather see Arsenal go for someone like Tchouameni, as mentioned, or Moises Caicedo, if we have the means financially and also the pull to pull it off, which I do believe we potentially do have. But bringing in Romeo Lavia is not a bad option whatsoever. Look, young players need to get given opportunity on the biggest stage. When Bukayo Saka burst onto the scene, now I'm not comparing Romeo Lavia potentially to Bukayo Saka, but it's the same thing. Burst onto the scene and took his opportunity with two hands, and we haven't looked back. Same with Martinelli. He got signed to be in the academy, but because he did so well, he's since been integrated to the first team squad, and we've not looked back either. Something similar could happen with Romeo Lavia. I know he got recently relegated with Southampton, but we've seen relegated players come back to the Premier League and do absolutely amazing. Jurrien Wijnaldum, Andy Robertson, for example, two good examples of that. Aaron Ramsdale as well, from our own club Arsenal, doing such a thing. So there is a potential there. Romeo Lavia has had 1 year of Premier League experience. Obviously, he's been at Southampton, who didn't do well at all last season, got relegated bottom of the table, but that's not his fault necessarily. Obviously, he's got a part to blame in that, but there's other players around that weren't really pulling their weight either, so I'm not going to put all the blame on that young kid's shoulders. But one thing is to note that he is playing that defensive midfield role, and I've said this multiple times in this channel, the defensive midfielder for me is the most important position on the football pitch. They anchor the team. They are the heartbeat and soul of a football team, that starting 11. It's no surprise that Manchester United, since they signed Casemiro, did so well last season. Man City won the Champions League, Premier League and FA Cup with Rodri at the helm of their team, such a brilliant player. Same with Brighton getting European football. Why? Because they had Moises Caicedo. The teams that have a good defensive midfielder tend to do very well in football matches, and that's no surprise. Now, Thomasd Partey, I think, is a really good defensive midfielder. However, he's got some problems with him. One, he's getting on in age, reaching 29, 30 years old. He's not going to be at the top of his game forever. And secondly, we know he can't stay fit for a 38-game season. It's just inevitable Thomasd Partey's going to pull up with some kind of injury towards the back end of the season and go missing for 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row. And you can't rely on that. Because at the end of the day, I don't care if you're the best player on planet Earth. If you're not available for the majority of the season, what's the point of having you? Look at Reece James, for example. I think when he's fit, Reece James is one of the best right-backs on the planet. But can you get a 20, 38-game season at him? No, you can't. You're struggling to get 15 games, let alone 38 games in the Premier League. That's what holds him back. So I think with Thomasd Partey, I wouldn't be against us moving on from him. The problem is, if you're going to move on from Thomasd Partey, you need an adequate replacement. Because the most money you're going to get for Thomasd Partey is around 40 to 50 million. I'd like to think we can get that amount of money for Thomasd Partey. Knowing Edu's transfer policy in terms of selling, he'd probably get 30 million max for the man. Look, Edu's done well in terms of signings. I love Declan Rice as a potential Granit Xhaka / Thomasd Partey replacement. Absolutely fantastic signing. I like Jurrien Timber as well. Less so Kai Havertz, but still I like the signing overall. So that's £200 million spent. Selling wise, that's never really been his forte. He got Leno for 8 million. Like, come on, man, you can get 20 million at least for that type of goalkeeper. Alright, Xhaka 21.5 million, not the end of the world. But I want to see him get some more money for our assets, because I genuinely do believe if Arsenal sell right, and there's certain players on the chopping block that we can get rid of, the likes of Balogun, Eddie Nketiah, Kieran Tierney, Thomasd Partey, Rob Holding, Cedric Suarez, Nicolas Pepe, Nuno Tavares. I'm listing them all out. You can get a good amount of money for those fringe players, at least 80 to 100 million, I'm thinking. That frees up a lot of transfer funds to sign some top players. So if we're looking from that sense, there is the opportunity to sign these type of good players around, these world beaters. I don't think our transfer business is done this summer in terms of bringing in players. I know we need to sell first to bring in, but that's where speed becomes the name of the game, right? In business and in football, you got to move quickly. Sell quick to buy quick. Look, Romeo Lavia, we understand their suitors. Liverpool want him. If they do go on to sell Fabinho, if they do go on to sell Jordan Henderson, they could be looking to bring in Romeo Lavia into that midfield and make that midfield a complete refresh. Bringing in Alexis McAllister, Szoboszlai, and now Romeo Lavia. That would be brilliantly. But Arsenal are hovering around as well. And I like to see that. Look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know it's going to be mixed reports in the comments. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on Romeo Lavia. I'm not a humongous fan of Romeo Lavia. I'm a big fan of him. And I think he's a really good player. But I would see Romeo Lavia as someone to bring in next to Thomasd Partey. Because then what we do is, for the next season, Romeo Lavia would learn the role under Thomasd Partey. And then next season, he'd become a starter. And we'd sell Thomasd Partey. That's what I would see in an ideal world to be the best method to integrate Lavia into the side. Otherwise, you bring him in, and then it becomes a case of he's just thrust into the limelight. Now, obviously, Declan Rice could start at CDM and he'd be a backup. But then it'd be a case of having Declan Rice as a starting defensive midfielder, then Romeo Lavia, then Jorginho. It seems a bit too much of an overkill. You don't need 3 defensive midfielders. Now, unless you want to put Romeo Lavia, Declan Rice and Ødegaard, which I assume is the player that Arteta wants to run, then that means for me, Lavia is a bit too inexperienced to play that defensive midfield role. Yes, Rice and Ødegaard could help him, but I'm trying to win the Premier League and Champions League. I haven't got time to carry certain players through matches. However, if you have Tchouaméni or Caicedo in there, they're still young as well, don't get me wrong, but despite their age, they've had tons of experience in big matches. I mean, Caicedo's gone to the World Cup, Tchouaméni equally, and played in Champions League matches as well. So at least they'd be a midfield of Caicedo/Tchouaméni, Rice and Ødegaard. That's a much more balanced midfield, and no one's a passenger in that midfield, or no one's someone that needs to be kind of like brought along or mentored through matches. Whereas I do believe Romeo Lavia, he's a brilliant player, and he's definitely someone for the future, 100%. And next season, I can see potentially Man City buying him back due to their buyback clause inserted in the deal in summer 2024. However, there's a reason they inserted that in 2024, because they assumed probably correctly that he won't be ready just yet. Still only 19 years of age, probably need one more season. I do think he's too good for the Championship. I do think he deserves a move up to the Premier League. But is he ready to start? And I personally think for Arsenal, we should be looking to sign a starting defensive midfielder. Someone to replace Thomasd Partey and be that rock in that midfield. And not just replace Thomasd Partey, but improve upon Thomasd Partey. Do you know what I mean? Like, sell your Audi to bring in a Mercedes-Benz. Like that sense. Not just Audi for Audi. Or Audi for another type of car. Do you get what I mean? That's at the same level. I want to upgrade my players. That's personally what I believe. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section regarding Romeo Lavia. Me personally, if Arsenal do pursue it, I trust the process. I trust what Arteta wants to bring in. Obviously, I can't wait for the season to see what he tries to implement. Because we're brought in players like Kai Havertz, Jurrien Timber, Declan Rice. Good players. I'm not quite sure at this stage what Arteta's strongest 11 he thinks it's going to be next season. He obviously has an idea in place. I'm not sure. Is it going to be Rice, Havertz, Ødegaard? Is it going to be Partey, Rice, Ødegaard, or Jorginho, Rice, Ødegaard? I'm not too sure right now. Obviously, only time will tell. The things we just got to sit back and basically trust that the club knows what they're doing. And if they want to bring in Romeo Lavia, I'm all for it. Me personally, I would rather spend the extra 30 to 40 million and sign a top dog in Tchouaméni or Caicedo if we can get it over the line, if we've got the financial muscles to pull it off, which I do believe it's worth it in the long run personally. Because it seems anyway that Southampton aren't going to settle for less than 50 million anyway from Romeo Lavia. And if you're paying that sort of money, you might as well just pay the extra money and get a top dog in Caicedo or Tchouaméni. That's just my thoughts on it. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Please do let me know. Would you like to see Romeo Lavia come to the Emirates? And if not, who else would you like to see Arsenal bring in? Or do you think Arsenal should not be targeting the CDM and should be going for a strike instead? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure to drop a like down below so this video gets out to more people on the algorithm. And if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe on my road to 4,000 subscribers. And importantly, because a lot of people forget this, hit that bell notification button so you never miss a future video on this channel. I've been Wifey. I appreciate you guys all for tuning into this one, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Take care.